Well, Mayuresh Joshi is also with us, and of course we've been talking to Ashwini Gujral and Sudarshan Sukhani. Mayuresh, good afternoon. Your call on the mid-cap IT stocks, which are in the news today, Hexaware, Emphasis, and Geometric. How will you approach them?
Afternoon, Anuj. Clearly, I think all these stocks are reacting for news associated with each of their individual business acquisitions. However, I think my own take is that large cap IT is something that I am very, very optimistic about over the next couple of years. More to do with the anticipation that with discretionary spending expected to come back over the next few quarters, with Q4, the budget firming up happening, I think a lot more will happen for the large cap IT names. Nevertheless, I think the mid cap IT have performed exceedingly well in terms of how the numbers have panned out. But again, I think one must take a stock by stock review of each of these cases. Clearly, with the price movement that has happened within the mid cap IT space, I think the valuations have become a little bit more steep at this juncture. So I think I'll be extremely selective within the mid cap IT pack. Mindtree is something that I've continued to like. I think Mindtree is something that I'll continue to like going ahead as well. So investors holding on to Mindtree should continue holding on. But clearly, I think all the other stocks that you probably mentioned, I think a lot has happened in terms of announcement expected to come through, and the price is probably reflecting a large part of the positives that the price is probably factoring in and building it at this point of time.
Okay, well, there are plenty of other stocks that are seeing some decent moves at this point. The aviation space is in focus because there's a sudden spike up that we've seen in Interglobe Aviation in the last 5-10 minutes. The volumes are also picking up on that stock. And if you just pull up a 2-month chart of Interglobe, of Indigo, as we call it, ever since the company came out with those clarifications on the late disclosure of the Q2 earnings, the stock has recovered about 17% from that low of 820 that it hit on the 11th of March. So this is one stock that has recovered quite a bit from its lows. This is of course a 3-month chart, but if you pull up a 1-month chart, then you'll see that up move on that particular stock.
And you know what, this is not surprising, Sonia, because you remember the stock made a bit of a bottom at its pre-issue at its issue price. It fell below issue price. After that, of course, the call here is that it's unlikely that the stock will go back to its previous highs. The market would want to see evidence of Q2 and Q4 earnings, but at least the market's message is loud and clear that they are in a bit of a mood to forgive and hope that the management has learned its lesson. As I said earlier as well, I have no doubt in my mind that 1 or 2 years down the line, this is going to be an index stock. So in that sense, that's something that the market has given cognizance to this fact that yes, they realize that they made a mistake, and let's move on.
Yes, of course, there's been quite a bit of a recovery since that day. Mayuresh, come in on this. Interglobe is back closer to 960. At what point would you advise investors to take a look into the stock again?
So Sonia, I think as Anuj was mentioning at this point of time, it is better manage it out of the 3 airline stocks, at least in terms of financials and the leverage that it has got on its books. Secondly, I think with the A320neos, I think the deliveries have just started getting commissioned and coming in. So I think once these deliveries start happening, and I think once they reach the full potential, it's a fuel efficient airline as well. So I think even if crude prices move up or stay in the same range, 15 to 20% savings probably happen because of the introduction of this fleet. Thirdly, I think the management, again, I think reiterating the fact that what probably happened in terms of disclosure of their accounts in the quarter gone by should not happen. So I think all the issues related to corporate governance and so on and so forth should largely be buried if the management probably sticks to their plan and the vision of probably taking the company to what they probably have envisaged. Having said that, probably I think my own take is that if the stock corrects to levels between 900 and 880, I think that becomes an excellent entry point for long-term investors. And I totally concur with Anuj. I think this is one of the better managed airlines, and the probability and the profitability of this airlines even increasing going forward, even if one assumes crude moving up. I think because it's better managed, because it's cost optimization programs, because it's programs related to sale and lease back, I think everything probably is in place for the airline. So I think I'll remain optimistic on Interglobe, but again I think 900 to 880 is, I think those are the levels that I watch out for in terms of an entry.
Okay, by the way, there are a lot of individual stocks surging now. Bellapur Industries or Built is clearly the one that stands out. If you see the intraday chart of Built, there's a big breakout that's taken place on that one. I was talking about Indigo, but even Jet has done well, and Crompton Greaves is the other stock where we have seen quite a bit of intraday surge, but that's Built for you, up about 9.5%. United Spirits as well, let's pull that out as well, and that stock has also done well. Ashwini, any of these stocks or anything else that stands out in broader market?
See, United Spirits seem to be making a bottom, and out there we could see 2800, 2850. Similarly, on fertilizer, GSFC, that's breaking out again, crossing 200-day moving average. So possibly levels of 85 to 87 are possible. JB Chemical Pharma, these smaller pharma stocks, along with Torrent Pharma. So all of these mid-cap pharma stocks are again picking up. Oro Pharma already at highs of the day. So lots of mid-caps are doing well. Karur Vysya is crossing its 200 DMA. So several banks, several smaller stocks like tea, coffee, sugar, etc. all of them are doing well.
Oh yes, a lot of the darlings of the market have actually once again found favor. We saw it with Bata, where the stock has recovered quite a bit from the lows of around 450 or so. Bata is back at 520, and now we are seeing it in Dish TV as well. Remember, the 52-week low that Dish TV hit was about 66 rupees. The stock has recovered in just 1 month. It's gained about 35% from its 52-week lows, and now is back closer to that 90 rupee mark. So yes, the action is in the mid-cap space, and that's something that Anuj has been telling you for a while as well, that now from the frontliners it's going to be shifting gear to a lot of the mid-cap. So let's do one thing, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into the mid-cap index with Pankaj Pandey of ICICI Direct, who will give us a couple of stock ideas for the long-term investor.
I think we've seen this big run-up, 10-12% from recent crack levels, and look at those FII inflows. The domestic blokes are selling. I wonder why. So maybe they are seeing redemptions, and if those redemptions are happening, I think a huge swathe of the investing public is now actually trading out, and I'm not too happy to see that. Not a 1 or 2 month view, but if you tell me in a year or two from now, I'm extremely bullish on how India is shaping up, especially in the weak global environment.
Good afternoon, and good speaking to you after a while. We were just talking about the aviation space and how much action there is over there. Interglobe is one stock.
All right, Pankaj, thanks a lot for those investment ideas. So that's 3 calls from ICICI Direct, 3 fundamental long-term calls. But what about near-term? We have Sandeep Bagle now joining us with his closing strategies. Sandeep, hi, good afternoon. So what have you made of the day so far, and what are your closing strategies?
Good afternoon, Anuj. I think we are waiting for the event, so I would term it neither positive nor negative. Bias still continues to remain positive. So I would be stock specific. A buy in a Bata, stop loss 509, target 540. A buy in a Torrent Pharma, stop loss 1374, target 1440. And a buy in a Jet Airways, stop loss 575, target 625.
Okay, all right, Sandeep. Thanks for giving us those trading ideas. So that's what you can do in the last 1 hour, or rather in the last half an hour of trade. But let's get some macro perspective now. It's been a very good comeback for the markets for the month of March post the budget. As we go into another season of earnings, will global markets support carry on this momentum? CNBC TV 18's Udin Mukherjee caught up with Madhu Kela of Reliance Capital to find out what he expects. Listen in.
Now things are looking very stable to everyone, and including me. I think the last data of the month of March, specifically the auto sales which I am seeing, the cement sales, everything seems to be pointing out that things are stabilizing. So I think on the domestic front, worries have receded significantly. However, we still live in a very, very fragile global environment. And I will not rule out during the year that will there be another leg down because of the global factors. So that is something which I can't see today, but that is not ruled out.
What's your sense of earnings now? Because we are about to hit another earnings season very soon. The kind of green shoots that you're seeing in sectors like cement, autos, do you think that will translate into any kind of earnings surprise in the current quarter, or do you still need to wait a couple of quarters before you can get something which cheers the market?
I think this is the most important and interesting question you raised today, because earnings have been disappointed disappointing for last 8-10 quarters. Every year, in the beginning of the year, we say that we are going to grow 18-20%, and that is the consensus this time also. That broadly, the earnings are expected to grow 18-20%. There are some sectors which are even expected to grow 30-40% in this year because of the low base of last year. So I have much more confidence in the prediction this year than I have had in the last 2 years personally, because I think the base is low. We are already seeing some kind of a revival in some of the sectors and the companies, and in our interaction with the companies, even they are sounding far more positive and constructive. Now, whether will it be equally spread over the next 4 quarters, that is difficult, and that doesn't look like. So maybe in this current quarter, again, you will see challenges in some of the public sector bank results and some of the stressed companies' results. But if I take a 16-17 call, and if you tell me that, am I convinced that the earning growth will be above 15% for this year? So I can say with a very high degree of conviction that this year there will be a 15% plus earning growth for the year as a whole, 16-17. And the other point then is that these stress sectors which have been disappointing for the markets as a whole, their overall weightage has come down so significantly. All stress sectors and companies put together are only constituting maybe 15% of the overall Sensex weightage. So any which way, it doesn't matter if that stress marginally continues there.
Global volatility will be a part of life this year, but even given that, is your expectation that we've put in a bottom at 6,800, 6,900? I mean, none of us can predict indices accurately all the time, but what is your expectation?
See, this is all, again, if you ask me what is my gut, my gut is that maybe we have seen the worst. Maybe we have put some kind of a bottom for 16-17 in place. That 6,900 looks very difficult to get penetrated unless and until we see some real bad global chaos, because at the margin, what gives me a lot of confidence, which I spoke to you in detail, all this cleanup which has happened had its own toll on the domestic earnings, on the domestic recovery. That seems to be behind us, and those are the things which are becoming, rather than it being a headwind, it is becoming a tailwind. So, even if you have a global turbulence, but if the domestic factors are looking far more constructive and far more positive, so I would say in a situation which is visible today, very difficult to see how we will penetrate 6,800 in this year.
What's your earliest expectation of when we can take that 9,000 level on the Nifty out? I won't hold you to it. It's a mug's game, we know, predicting all these indices, particularly in the environment that we live in. But again, what's your gut feel?
In the next 24 months, for sure.
Okay. I thought you would compress that number a little bit, but fair enough. You are asking me for a wide range, even though you will not hold me, but I have to hold my own self. You talked to a lot of global fund managers as well, Madhu, and we spoke about the fact that in March a lot of the FI money has come back. Do you get the sense that this is India funds or emerging market funds which have got most of the money? Could it be a lot of ETF money which was playing for the emerging market bounce back? What's your sense of this money that generally emerging markets and India in particular has got over the last 1 month?
So my interaction with them is that this is more of an allocation money. It doesn't look like a lot of India funds, specific India funds have got this money. This looks like a larger global emerging market call, and within that India's position clearly being more superior. And having seen the correction which we saw, I think all these factors have come together for this money to be poured into India.
Okay, the worst may be over for the Indian markets. You can catch that entire conversation that airs at 8:30 p.m. tonight only on CNBC TV 18.
Alright, our closing bell money control question of the day is: will a 25 basis point repo rate cut further boost stock market sentiment? Log on to moneycontrol.com, post your responses, and we'll read some of the most interesting ones post 3:30.
And up Next, to brighten up your Monday, we have our Monday special Mid-Cap Mania with Nigel D'Souza, and the stock on his radar today is a company that deals with the oil and gas space but has shifted its revenue mix to gas dehydration. Nigel will give us more details on the other side.
Welcome back. Well, the market is at high point of the day now, 77.57 on the index. So once again, just reiterates that this really has been a big buy on dips market. Yet again, 12 o'clock the market slipped into the red, and from that point on, it's a 50-60 point rally, more than that you have seen. Let's get a word from our technical experts before we move on. Ashwini, what would you make of this late surge that we're seeing in the index? Yet another attempt towards that zone that you spoke earlier, 77.50 to 77.70.
See, basically we are closing somewhere near the high point of the day, but the gains are not large, so it's still a small bar. So if we can get past 7800, probably we'll have a fast dash towards 7900. But till then, it's a buy on dip style market. If you bought in the morning, you didn't make a whole lot, but you had to wait for that dip to buy so that you made money. So the bank nifty trade, if people are holding long, I think by the end of the day, it will be a good idea to take it off.
Okay, well, IT stocks are the hot favorite this afternoon. So Infosys is now at the highest point of trade, a fresh lifetime high, and we're not used to seeing Aurobindo Pharma in the nifty stocks, so we sort of get shocked when you see a big move there. But yes, now the new entrant is up about 3.5% today. Big move coming in on Aurobindo Pharma, a newest nifty entrant. But it's time now for a Monday special Mid-Cap Mania with Nigel D'Souza, and the stock on his radar is a company that deals with the oil and gas space but has shifted its revenue mix to gas dehydration. The company has a high dependence on orders from ONGC but has revenue visibility for about 5 years. Nigel, which one is this?
Well, Sonia, the stock that I'm talking about is Deep Industries. If you take a look at it, they were always into compression as well as drilling rigs. But as you said, in the last year or so, they've shifted their focus to gas dehydration, and that in fact is now 45% of their total book, and they're looking at maintaining it at around 50% of their total revenues going ahead. What exactly is that? That involves cleansing of gas and in fact removing all water and the likes. That's what in fact gas dehydration is all about. The promoters have been hiking stake as well in the company. If you take a look at the last few years, it's moved from around 58.9% to around 70%. There was a warrants issue as well, and post that as well, they have been hiking stake. Even in the last couple of quarters, they have hiked stake by around 1.5%. Financials, what they have done in 9 months of this financial year has superseded what they did in the entire of last year. So that as well is important. For example, they have done a revenue of around 114 crores. That compares with the whole of last year, which they did around 101 crores. And profitability, this year they've done around 28 crores. We got one more quarter to go. But the entire of last year, they did only around 21 crores. Now moving on, then if you see the revenue in the last few years, it's moved from around 50 crores all the way to around 100 crores, and they've already done around 114 crores. Extrapolate that, they've done around 20% CAGR, and for this year, they should do in excess of around 160 crores approximately if you extrapolate what they've been doing. Moving on, then if you just take a look at what is the company about, the order book is at around 900 crores. The good or the bad part is that 50% of that is dependent on ONGC. So if things go wrong, then in fact it couldn't be such a good thing. But as of now, 50% of their total order book. And what 900 crores means is that they have visibility for the next 5 to around 6 years at least. Finally, the stock has corrected a goodish bit from the high point that we saw in November 2015. It's corrected more than 30%. But in the last 1 year, that's 1 year from today, the stock in fact has gained close to around 175%. So yes, it's had a good run. Back to you.
All right, Nigel, thanks a lot for that. So that's Deep Industries up about 3.5%, but look at that 12-month chart, and it's been a big outperformer, only listed on BSE, not on the NSE. But let's get an insight into dealing room chatter then. Here's Mangalam Malu with Trader Talk. Mangala?
Well, I'll tell you what, Anuj, it's been a bit of a lackluster session ahead of the RBI policy meet tomorrow. Now the volumes as well are on the lower side because the HNIs as well as the institutions are sitting on the sidelines keeping their powder dry ahead of the RBI policy meet. I'll tell you what, the market also expects a 25 basis points rate cut with an outside chance of 50 basis points rate cut. So 25 is largely priced in, and the consensus is not only pricing in a 25 basis points rate cut, they're also pricing in some dovish commentary coming in. The dealers say that they expect a 25 basis points rate cut with some dovish commentary and another rate cut as we move closer to the monsoons once the RBI gets some level of comfort as far as the monsoons is concerned as well. However, the mid caps are gaining traction and the dealers believe it will outperform Nifty in the near term. However, for the Nifty itself, 7,600 looks like a decent near-term base, and they have seen some selective buying in PSU banks, cement and OMCs ahead of Q4 and FY16 results.
Okay, Mangalam, well, lackluster no more. The market is at the highest point right now, 77.59 on the Nifty, and the Sensex is up a cool 130 odd points. So what should you be buying or selling today for a reverse trade tomorrow? Ashwini will tell us first what his picks are. Ashwini.
See, VIP is broken out above 110, so that's a buy with a stop of 106. Look for targets of 118. Jet Airways is a buy with a stop of 580, target of 615. It's kind of bottomed out, so even after the up move, there still seems to be upside. And United Spirits is a buy with a stop of 2500, target of 2650.
Okay, so a lot of these BTST ideas. Sudarshan, a word on the telecom stocks, Idea and Bharti. Idea in particular stands out with big surge today.
Yes, but the chart that I like is Bharti, which is building a long and large base, and it promises a significant rally in the next 1 year or so. And it's an investment idea, it's a swing trade both. Idea had a V-shaped turnaround, that is something I'm never able to trade properly.
Okay, well, we do have two cues that the market is looking at. One, of course, is the expectation from the RBI policy tomorrow. If we do get a 50 basis points rate cut, then the market could surge. The other is the global cues, and at this point, global markets are looking quite good. Most of Europe is up more than 0.5%. In fact, the French index is up almost 1% right now, an indication that the bonhomie that we've seen in the global markets continues, and that's where we've been getting a lot of our stimulus from. But Varinder is also with us. He'll tell us about some of the buzzing stocks that he's observed. Varinder.
I'll start with some of the mid-cap gainers. Look at Sequent Scientific. That stock was up nearly 15%. GM Breweries, that company will be reporting results tomorrow. The stock is up over 10% ahead of the results. Saregama, UFO Movies, MOIL, Venky's, and some of these chemical fertilizer stocks like GSFC, Zuari Agro, they have been buzzing since last few days. Almost all the footwear companies, our guests were talking about Bata, which is up 3.5%, Liberty Shoes, Relaxo, Mirza International of Red Tape fame, and Laurentian Polymers of Leher Footwear. All these stocks are up anywhere between 10 to 20%. Some of the drilling pipeline companies like Maharashtra Seamless and ISMT up nearly 20%. Other small cap gainers like Semper Nutrition, this is one of the best performing small cap stock in the last 2 or 3 months. Guinea Filaments, Jindal Cotex, Lloyd Metal, Eon Electric. Again, this stock has been gaining nearly 40% in the last 1 week. Deccan Gold Mines, Puneet Resins, Ugar Sugar Works, Duke Offshore, another leather company which is Super House Leathers, Excel Industries, Kiri Industries, which gained 30% last week, up nearly 10% today. Kakatia Cements is another counter which has been gaining steadily since last few days. Mindtech, MB Polymers, Harita Sitting, Asahi Songwong, Jash Industries, MP Distilleries, PG Electroplast, Built, Netlinks, ITDC, again one of the best movers in the small cap mid cap category in the last few 2 or 3 weeks. But there are some losers as well. Look at IVRCL, Den Networks, Godfrey Phillips, Dwarike Sugar, Keep and Kitex Garments. The company will be reporting results today, and of course GM Breweries, where the results are expected tomorrow.
All right, Varinder, thanks a lot for that. Well, couple of names. We only spoke about the stocks gaining ground, but if you look at the couple of losers, PSU Bank stand out. Mid-cap PSU Bank, Syndicate Bank, IDBI Bank, both are lower. Allahabad Bank as well can be added to that list. And Page Industries, it's been an interesting stock actually. It's seen a fair bit of correction. After that you saw a bit of a rally, and now you've seen a bit of a decline again. Ashwini, a word on a couple of these PSU banks, IDBI Bank and Allahabad Bank, for example?
See, they are in strong uptrend. So basically, people are booking profits before the policy, but I think they'll move higher from here. You could have a 15 to 20% rallies on all of these small PSU banks because they are the most beaten up. So any sort of PSU rally, and I think they should recover. I don't think there's much of a problem. Even on Page Industries, seems it has bottomed out. So on declines, you can still buy. Possibly you'll get 12,500, 13,000 soon.
Okay. Well, Neeraj, Diwan has also been sitting by. It's been a good day for the market so far. Neeraj, afternoon, a lot of stocks hitting new highs. So you have Infosys that's at a fresh all-time high, Hero MotoCorp, Ashok Leyland, Dr. Lal, Pathlab, so many stocks, Grasim. Let me start one by one. What's your view on Infosys ahead of the Q4 numbers, in just a while from now? Do you expect another strong quarter for the company?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, definitely. I think the kind of movement that we see in the market, I think more of fundamental picking which is happening right now ahead of the numbers which are expected now. Infosys, I think the way they have seen in the last couple of quarters, even though other large companies have not been able to do that kind of, and they've been given profit warnings, but Infosys has been one which has been improving quarter on quarter, and I think this quarter also we should see better numbers from Infosys.
Okay, better numbers from Infosys. The other one where we have seen, or the other sector where we have seen quite a bit of activity, Neeraj, is this telecom sector. This whole spectrum talk or cut off on that, that's clearly leading to this big surge. But they have been underperformers over a slightly larger period. How would you approach names like Idea and Bharti?
I think I would be still cautious. I think if there's a rally in these stocks, I will use the rallies to lighten up my position, because with the impending launch of Jio this year, I think there would be some sort of correction or profiting happening before that. So I would really not carry my trade long in Bharti or Idea for that matter. I think all the rallies should be used to lighten up a position in these stocks.
Okay, well, those are Kitex Garments numbers. The numbers look quite good prima facie. So the profits have gone up for the company to 45 crores versus 41.6 crores on a year-on-year basis. And even if you look at the total income, there's quite a big boost that we're seeing in total income, 184.3 crores versus 158 odd crores. Remember, the stock has lost quite a bit in the last 6-8 months or so. It's lost about 56% from its 52-week high of 1070. So there is some legroom on the upside for the stock to move higher post these numbers. EBITDA has come in at 69 crores. Okay, there's a marginal growth that you're seeing in EBITDA, but growth nevertheless. So decent set of numbers is what the company has reported. We only had some estimates from Motilal Oswal where they were expecting the profits to come in at 41.6 crores. So this is definitely better than expectation, and even the sales were expected to come in at 169 crores. So this is definitely better than what the street was estimating. Neeraj, do you track Kitex Garments? It has provided or generated a lot of wealth for investors in the past, but it slowed down a bit in the last 6-8 months. What would you do now?
We don't have a regular coverage on the stock, but I definitely follow it because if you see last 2 quarters the results were bad, and because of that the stock had corrected by almost from the highs of 900,000 all the way down to 400 odd. And you've seen that massive correction, but now because this quarter, if you're seeing a year-on-year improvement, that means that fall has been arrested as far as the numbers are concerned. So if the fall has been arrested, and now if after the fall the stock is also not at that high kind of a premium, which was at a 900, 1000 level. So I think there's definitely room for some upside movement in the stock from these levels.
Okay, well, it's been a remarkable stock, of course. As Sonia pointed out, 3 years back it was 50. Last year it hit 1000, and now it's trading at 500. So clearly the last couple of quarters not looking good, and this quarter it looks like, prima facie at least, the numbers look good. The government source is saying that Telecom Commission has accepted the TRAI recommendations of cutting spectrum usage charges. That's the reason the telecom stocks are up today, by the way. Bharti and Idea, both the stocks are higher right now. So we'll get some more details on that. But for now, both these stocks inching higher as we speak. Infosys has also hit a new lifetime high, so that's also been a good stock. Sudarshan, technically you've been saying to buy Infosys now for last many days, but is there temptation to book profit, or would you actually add more?
No, I don't think we should be booking profits in Infosys when it's at lifetime highs. It's also a blue chip company. This market will reward people who stay with blue chip companies and, as you said, add to them, or you asked me. I think this is a time, if you want to put some money in the market, you can add Infosys to your portfolio, add more Infosys to your existing holdings.
Okay, add more emphasis to your existing holdings. That's been the big mover today. Look at that, 3.5% higher, and the volume action has also picked up quite a bit. So this is turning out to be quite a good market, Anuj. Of course, we have the big event tomorrow, right? And if we don't get, say, a surprise, which is a 50 basis points rate cut, and if we get something that's expected, 25 basis points, do you think this momentum will be disrupted?
I tell you one thing. A lot of people believe that, are getting a feeling of deja vu that last time the market topped out at rate cut. It's not necessary that history would repeat, because if that was the case, historians would be the biggest millionaires. But the fact is that this time the market's mood is different, Sonia. The market's mood right now is to look at even bad news as good news. You could have easily, on the evidence of the non-farm payroll data, the markets could have easily taken a call that the Fed is going to be more hawkish now, and the markets could have fallen. But the markets chose to ignore that and actually end at high point of the day. A lot of markets are ending at high point of the day. But keep in mind, tomorrow the policy is not pre-market, so that's why that gives you the comfort to keep positions open, and you can still take positions tomorrow morning or square off tomorrow morning. So let's wait for the event. Let's see how the markets react. By the end of the day tomorrow, you'll know how the market has reacted to the policy, and after that you'll move on and you'll be talking about the quarterly earnings. The big call for me right now is, have we baked in a really bad Q4? Because if that is the case, if the market had baked that in, say, 2 months back and is now moving on, in that case, I think whether the Q4 numbers are bad or not, the market will still move on. If the market has not baked in those Q4 numbers and you see slightly worse numbers than the ones factored in, then I think that could be the problem for this market.
Also, I think the market is getting buttressed by some solid moves in the global markets on the upside, and even as we speak, there's a powerful rally in the European markets. So the CAC is now at the highest point of trade, so is the DAX, and that's been the key reason why our own markets have moved for the last 2 to 3 months. So that positive continues. But Neeraj, I wanted your thoughts on some of the telecom names. I know we have discussed this sector a lot in the past, but now we are getting some government source-based information that the Commission has accepted the TRAI's recommendations of cutting the spectrum user charge, and it will be a positive for these companies. We are seeing the stocks move up about 3-4%, but as a long-term investor, would you put any money here?
Yeah, that's what I said. See, if I'm holding on to the stock, I'll hold on to them. But it can be a trading call from these levels, because definitely there will be upside because of this news. But I am not a long-term investor in these stocks, especially Bharti, Idea, Arcom. I think I would, invest for it with a trading view and book my profits soon with this rally which is coming because of this news.
Okay, well, some more stocks that were erstwhile favorites of investors that are starting to pick up pace yet again. VIP is one of them. That stock has picked up quite a bit on the volume charts, and you know what, it's hit a fresh 52-week high today as well. VIP 112.75, so sudden spike up is what you've seen in this stock. Remember, when that whole bear phase of the market was going on, the stock had actually fallen quite a bit to sub 100 rupees. In fact, I think 93 or so. It went down all the way to 84 as well, and now it's been a very good recovery that we've seen in VIP. So Darshan, from the list of mid caps that we've spoken about, the aviation stocks, some of these consumer names like VIP, etc., what's the best bet as far as the trader is concerned?
No, I can't talk about the best, but I'll tell you what I like. And Sonia, how times change. Aviation was never my favorite. And now the charts for Jet and Indigo, that is Interglobe, both suggest, while the Indigo chart doesn't have much data, but whatever it has, both suggest that higher levels are coming. So one of the advantages of being a technical trader is that we are very flexible.
Okay, by the way, one of the big movers today has been Moil. It was up in the morning, but it's added another 6% in a matter of last 5 or 6 minutes. Let's pull out that stock and see the kind of surge that you've seen on that one. Up since morning, but all of a sudden another big surge coming in on Moil, up about 15.5%. Neeraj, any call on this stock?
No, I don't track this stock, so I won't be able to comment on this.
Okay, Ashwini, any technical call available on this stock? It's not a stock we talk too often, but it's made a big move today.
See, most resource companies have made a big move, and Moil basically down from 320 to 200. I think we should get back towards possibly 320, 325, and then from there, if those levels are crossed, then you start some sort of a bullish trend. But I think broadly it's in a range of 180 to about 320. So this rally could get very close to 300, 320.
Okay, so that's on Moil, up about 15%. Haven't seen this kind of a move in Moil in a very, very long time.
Considered a boring stock, but today has made a really big move.
Oh yes, and this was a part of our top 10 as well, because it does have fundamental news backing it. But Neeraj, I wanted your thoughts on the other big mover, which is Dr. Lal PathLabs. That stock had an issue price of 550. Now that stock is almost touching 1,000 rupees, so it's 80% above from its issue price. One of the best listings in the recent times. Does it still offer value, or do you think it's become a bit too expensive now?
I think it's become fairly or too little expensive now. See, when the stock was listed that time, we were looking at a 30-35% growth for 2-3 years. But after 100% move, I think most of that is factored into the price. So there are no listed comparison to this stock. That's why with being the only one in this space listed, you get definitely allocation towards this stock. But I think after this up move, I don't see too much of an outperformance this stock going ahead.
Okay, the other set of stocks which is surging again is the dye stocks, and that's the call that Mr. Tulsian had given 2 or 3 days back about the kind of surge that we can see in some of these names, led by stocks like Kiri Industries. That stock in fact is now trading 13% higher. A couple of others like Make Money Organics were also the stocks which Mr. Tulsian had recommended, and some of these stocks are now seeing big intraday surge. Couple of other names which stand out: Karur Vysya Bank, that's come out of nowhere today actually and made a big move. Intraday chart of Karur Vysya Bank, and you will see the big surge. The other stock that's looking quite interesting is Arvind Infra, not the big Arvind, but the Arvind Infra stock, because that's hit upper circuit. I think it's done for the day. Geometric has also hit upper circuit. It did in the morning, then cooled off a bit, but now it's back to circuit. So a lot of these stocks doing remarkably well in trade. Ashwini, a word on sugar stocks. We've seen a remarkable run in some of these names, and now smaller stocks are participating. Any stock that stands out for you?
See, let me first say that CNX IT is breaking out now above 200 DMA, and with Infosys doing what it's doing and being the highest component of the CNX IT, I think buying CNX IT is a good bet for tomorrow if you don't want volatility of the bank nifty. So that's a fairly strong buy. You should expect 11,550, 600 on CNX IT. As far as sugar is concerned, continues to be in an uptrend. All declines should be bought. I think even the large stocks can easily go up at least 40 to 50% from here. See, we have to remember that in the initial phase, everything sugar will move. So that initial phase has just about started. So I think sugar is coming out of a big bear market. So another 40 to 50% should be easily on the table.
Okay, well, the biggest nifty gainer today is Idea Cellular, and Rima is here to tell us why the telecom stocks are rallying so much. Rima.
Hi Sonia, thanks so much for that. Well, the big reason is that there is a possibility that the spectrum usage charge may be cut. A spectrum usage charge is the annual fee that telcos pay to the government. It currently stands at about 5% of your adjusted gross revenue, and it might come down to 3%. Now, this is a long-standing recommendation of the TRAI. The TRAI recommended it in 2014, 15 and 16, but now what we understand is that the Telecom Commission is also backing this recommendation, and this is the proposal which is put forth to the government, and now the final decision will be taken by by the cabinet. What we're also picking up is that we will know greater clarity on whether the government accepts it or not only when the notice inviting applications, or the NIA, which has all the details about the upcoming auctions, when that is put out, say in the month of June perhaps, that's when we will know whether the spectrum usage charge has been cut or not. But the expectation is from 5% it will come down to 3%. This will be done on a prospective basis, and the other way of looking, the other way what we're picking up is that the calculation will be done on a weighted average basis. So it could be a big positive for telcos because it will straight away flow through the bottom line. Back to you.
All right, Rima, thanks a lot for that. Yes, idea is probably your index stock of the day, up about 6%. Just about 2 minutes left for markets to close, so let's just do a quick recap. It was a good day for the markets. Once again, buy on dips played out. From the low point, Nifty gave you a clean 60-point run, and the Sensex or the Bank Nifty also gave you a clean 150-point run from the low point of the day. In terms of individual stocks, as I said, Idea probably was your stock of the day, up 6%. Bharti as well was up 4%. Infosys made a new life high, and look at how it moved actually, 3.5% higher, and big volumes on Infosys. In fact, I'll be interested to know the delivery percentage in today's trade and the kind of volumes that it would have generated. HCL Tech as well was up about 2.5%. Tata Motors was up 2%. Z was up 2%. Asian Paints, Tech Mahindra, Aurobindo Pharma made a big move, first big move after its index inclusion, so 3.5% higher on on Aurobindo Pharma, and Asher Motors as well was in the green. On the way down, ITC clearly stands out. In fact, if it wasn't for ITC, the market gains would have been even far higher, so 1.5% lower on ITC, and it carries a lot of weight in the index. Maruti was down a bit, down about 1%. HDFC was down about 1%, and Axis Bank was interesting because it clearly underperformed the rest of the banking pack, so that was down about 1%. But really, for last many days now, it's been about individual stocks in the broader markets.
Oh yes, what a day it's been, Anuj. Lot of stock ideas, so much stock picking. Don't be fooled by just a marginal gain of 0.3% on the mid-cap index. Look at the market breadth, almost 1,000 stocks on the advancing side. The stock of the day clearly was Geometric Software. It got bought over by HCL Tech, and the stock rallied 20% by the end, and huge volume. So that was clearly your stock of the day. But apart from that, you had names like VIP that hit a fresh 52-week high. Dr. Lal PathLabs, phenomenal listing, and the stock is up 80% from its issue price. You have tractor makers like Escorts that rallied post very strong sales. You had stocks like aviation stocks like Interglobe and Jet Airways that had a massive run today. A lot of other mid-cap gainers coming in. Sugar stocks hitting new highs, Shakti Sugar, Oud Sugar, Ogar Sugar, Uttam, Kothari, that whole sugar pack hitting new highs today. And you had the tea stocks as well like Jayashree Tea that hit new highs in trade today. Apart from that, Kitex had a fairly decent set of numbers. It reported its Q4 numbers and FY16 numbers today. Income growth of 17%, profit growth of 8%, and the street liked it, so the stock went home with a 2% gain, as you can see. Let's try and identify a couple of losers for you as well. Some banks were under pressure, so Federal Bank, IDBI Bank were all in the red. Real estate stocks were down and out, Unitech, HDIL and Indiabulls Real Estate. You had others like Union Bank that were also in the red today. IVRCL has been moving only one way since that Kolkata bridge collapse, and that's on the downside. So IVRCL another 5.5% gone over there, and IFCI too was in the red. But that's all. Apart from that, you had many stocks that closed in the green. Emphasis as well has been the big talking point through the day. So let's see how Emphasis closed up, down about 3% or so. So we wrap up what has been a very good start to the week. After 10% healthy rally that we saw in March, the month of April has gotten off to a good start indeed. 25,400 is here on the Sensex, and the Nifty is up about 0.6%. Ashwini, what's the strategy for tomorrow? We have a policy post-market opening. The market momentum is good. Would you advise keeping the long positions open? And if yes, where should the stops be?
See, CNX IT is up 1.8% today. It just does not get discussed as much. But I think the best way to play tomorrow is through CNX IT, because chances are that given the momentum of Infosys, etc., and the way global markets are moving, that may keep you safe. As far as Bank Nifty, I would like to buy it if I get it 200 points lower, 15,950. So that way, you have Nifty which is range bound to up, Bank Nifty again finding it tough to get past 16,300. But I think CNX IT is the one which is leading the way, and with the strongest component showing so much strength and at all-time high. Maybe just for next few days, CNX IT could be the index which could take the market higher and at least keep the index quite stable above 7,700.
Okay, Ashwini, a word on ITC as well, that clearly dragged the market today.
It is a FMCG style stock. It protected 300 somehow. It made a large move from 270 to 330. Now chances are it will consolidate and slowly move up. I think 345, 350 should happen on ITC, but it's not that kind of stock which will move every day. Plus the Nifty is facing some sort of resistance. So the day we are able to take that resistance out, probably ITC will also move, but I think as we head higher, every 40-50 points there is resistance. So I think stocks like ITC is still in an uptrend, but I think up moves will now take longer.
Alright, tomorrow is the big event, the RBI policy. Neeraj, what's your expectation? Do you think there's an outside chance of a 50 basis points rate cut tomorrow?
Yeah, there is definitely a chance. I think this policy should not disappoint. One, it is coming after very benign inflation numbers. It is coming after the budget with the fiscal deficit number being maintained. So I don't think there should be disappointment tomorrow. Maybe there's a 0.25 and a dovish sort of a statement, or there can be something on the liquidity front by something in the CRR. So I think this policy, according to me, should not disappoint the market.
Okay, so Neeraj, from this point, do you think the equity markets can continue to gain ground? I mean, we have a lot to catch up in terms of the lost ground. We have seen a big rally already play out in March. Do you think an encore is possible in April?
See, the bigger picture in the last couple of months has been the global liquidity that is helping us and the global markets which have been really positive. I think that if that picture stays positive and funds are coming in and the global markets are not falling, then I think we should continue this rally. So definitely our numbers will come and go, and there will be some specific action because of that, but global liquidity and global markets should stay positive. And with the domestic front, with the noise about the monsoon being a little better, it will definitely help the cause for domestic markets as such.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll let you go. We've had a good run today. Hopefully that should sustain in the days to come as well. We take a break on that note, but coming up, DLF, India Bulls and Apollo Tyres are in focus.